Shedeur, my guy. Shedeur played with the threes. He looked frustrated, certainly.
Sanders being pressured, spins away again, keeping the play alive. The fans love it, but that's one of those plays where
Dillon Gabriel's going to miss a touchdown here. He makes the wrong read. He doesn't stay calm in the pocket. In fact, the pocket is pretty good, but he has his tight end open right there. If Dillon Gabriel just stays calm in the pocket, instead of getting happy feet, he's going to find his tight end here for a touchdown. Instead, Gabriel gets two, nervous with the pocket, leaves a good pocket, a great pocket, and scrambles here and throws a poor low percentage pass that could have even gotten picked off.
How did Dillon's hamstring hold up after playing a half yesterday?
Yeah, good.
Shedeur Sanders once again ended up overlooked. While Dillon Gabriel and Joe Flacco were given the stage to showcase their skills, Sanders barely had time to get comfortable before Kevin Stefanski pulled him out and replaced him with Tyler Huntley. He logged only 6 reps, compared to Gabriel's 19. And that difference says a lot. What makes it sting even more is that Gabriel started getting more time only after he began performing well, while Shedeur never had that same chance. What should have been his moment in the final preseason game instead turned into another missed opportunity. But this story is bigger than the box score. Before we break it all down, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps us keep creating content like this. Joe Flacco set the tone early, proving once again that veteran poise and accuracy still matter, connecting on 90% of his throws. After him, it was Dillon Gabriel's turn, and at first he looked every bit ready for the spotlight. He pushed the ball downfield, kept drives alive, and seemed in full command. But that momentum didn't last long. A costly fumble erased what looked like a guaranteed touchdown, and not long after, he almost handed the defense an interception, saved only by his receiver making a desperate grab. The Rams' defense quickly clamped down and adjusted, yet despite the struggles, Stefanski continued giving Gabriel more chances to find his rhythm. Here's the catch. Those slip-ups probably won't make the highlight reels, and most of the big outlets will brush past them like they never happened. But that's not the case here. We're breaking it all down piece by piece. The bright spots, the flaws, and what it all truly means for the ongoing quarterback competition.
2-by-2 formation, and Dillon Gabriel picking a side, going to it quickly, being really decisive in the 2-minute drill.
First and 10, Gabriel over Lauderdale. And that is one of those balls that is dangerous for the receiver.
Dillon Gabriel's first big misstep came almost right away. Instead of taking the safer option across the middle, he rolled out left, and that's where things started to crumble. With the defense closing fast, his balance was off. His throw wobbled, and the ball skipped into the ground. What should have been an easy touchdown drive suddenly stalled, wiping out all the momentum the offense had built. But rather than holding him accountable, Stefanski brushed it aside, looking more focused on keeping Shedeur Sanders off the field than actually giving him a fair chance to step in. And right when it looked like Dillon Gabriel might finally be finding some rhythm, everything unraveled again. What made it sting even more was Stefanski's choice, not bringing in Shedeur Sanders until Gabriel eventually found some stability. On this particular snap, Gabriel had it all. A clean pocket, zero pressure, and a receiver breaking wide open down the right side with nothing but daylight ahead. It should have been a routine strike for a big gain, but instead, the throw drifted harmlessly out of bounds. No clever defensive disguise, no busted play, just a flat-out miss. Once again, his smaller frame seemed to work against him, narrowing his field vision and making him look unsettled in a spot where precision was everything. Dillon Gabriel kept rolling with the first team unit and eventually punched in his first touchdown of the night. All the while, Shedeur Sanders was left standing on the sideline, still waiting for his shot. Gabriel wrapped up the game going 13 for 19, a stat line that, on paper, looks pretty solid. But the real question hangs in the air. How different would things have looked if Shedeur had been granted the same reps and room to prove himself? At this point, it's starting to feel less like a one-off mistake and more like a pattern with Gabriel. Sure, he can string together flashes of sharp, confident football, as he showed here. But sooner or later, the same issues creep back in. His mechanics start to slip, his touch fades, and suddenly, the defense is back in control. We saw it in this game again. A routine play turned into a dangerous opportunity for the opposition. And yet, despite those mistakes stacking up, Stefanski still held back from giving Sanders a chance. It's not the first time either. Remember the last game, when one of Gabriel's misfires landed right in the defender's arms and set up an easy score the other way? The cycle continues, and Gabriel hasn't managed to break out of it. Now, let's zero in on that particular sequence.
Very good so far. And this one is picked off and going back the other way.
Now it's a foot race, and that is that.
Shedeur Sanders, meanwhile, never really got the space to settle in. The pressure came fast, and after taking just a single sack, he was yanked and replaced with Tyler Huntley. That substitution happened right as the Rams grabbed back the lead. A lead they would never give up. Stefanski's clear favoritism not only robbed Shedeur of a fair opportunity, but also stripped the Browns of a real shot at closing out the preseason with a perfect sweep. In the end, it was Stefanski's own bias that turned what could have been a statement finish into a frustrating letdown for Cleveland.
Sanders, being pressured, spins away again, keeping the play alive. The fans love it, but that's one of those plays where...
What made matters even more frustrating was the situation Shedeur Sanders walked into once he finally got on the field. He wasn't paired with the starters, or even the second-team offense, but rather a patchwork group of backups who couldn't hold the line or give him the protection he needed. Each breakdown left him hanging out to dry, and instead of making adjustments, Stefanski simply let it happen, almost as if he was trying to prove a point. It felt less like an honest evaluation and more like a statement that Shedeur wasn't the one to lead this team, rather than giving him a legitimate shot to compete. As the dust settles on this final preseason game, one thing becomes painfully clear. The quarterback competition in Cleveland has been anything but balanced. Dillon Gabriel was afforded the luxury of time, rhythm, and repeated chances to rebound from his mistakes, while Shedeur Sanders was left watching from the sidelines, forced into a stacked deck the moment his number was finally called. The contrast wasn't just in opportunities, it was in treatment, in trust, and in the perception of who deserved to be out there. Gabriel's numbers, 13 completions on 19 attempts with a touchdown, will no doubt be highlighted as proof of progress, yet the flaws remain evident. The fumble, the near interception, the missed wide-open throw, all examples of cracks that resurface no matter how much time he's given. And still, Stefanski doubled down, allowing him to push through, while refusing to extend the same grace to Sanders. It wasn't just about play calling or personnel, it was about the message. Gabriel was allowed to fail forward. Sanders was never allowed to get started. For Shedeur, this preseason will be remembered less for what he did on the field and more for what he wasn't given the chance to do. Working behind a patchwork offensive line, denied snaps with the first or even second-team offense, and pulled at the first sign of struggle. It was a scenario built to undermine rather than uplift. And in the bigger picture, it cost the Browns not only the potential to sweep the preseason, but also the chance to properly evaluate a young quarterback who deserved a fair shot. What lingers now is a sense of unfinished business. If this truly was a competition, it never played out on equal terms. And until Sanders is given that chance, the question will remain. Did the Browns miss out on seeing the future of their franchise? What do you think about all of this? Do you believe Shedeur Sanders was unfairly sidelined? Or was Stefanski simply making the decisions he thought were best for the team? Could Sanders have delivered more if he had been given the same opportunities as Dillon Gabriel? Or would the outcome have been the same? And looking ahead, do you think Cleveland is making the right moves in evaluating their quarterback situation? Or is a real chance being denied to a potential star? Share your thoughts. We want to hear what you think.